Episode 9 of the new horror-themed Digimon season, Digimon Ghost Game, gave us the most information thus far on the rules of this universe. You know, how Digimon and their various forms work, how they traveled from the digital world into the human world, what happens to humans attempting to go to the digital world, and much more. We also saw the return of the first enemy from episode 1, Clockmon. I was really thinking this episode was just going to be about Clockmon's return and showing us that villains in the show can return, and it did that, but it also went above and beyond with the huge lore dump, which I think we all appreciate. We'll be breaking down everything we learned about the rules of Digimon Ghost Game's world in this video. So welcome to the Digino. It's always fun assembling like this every Sunday. I get really excited to read your comments after hitting publish on this thing. Tiny bit of housekeeping. I put out a video in the middle of the week about Digimon Universe Applimon, otherwise known as Appmon. I talk about why, even though some people ignored this show, I believe it's a stellar Digimon season. A lot of people were really happy that I covered it, so I want to do more, and what I'm going to do is put up Appmon reviews on my second channel, the Digino02. I'll review 10 episodes at a time, so the first video will be episodes 11 to 20. Make sure to subscribe to both my channels so you don't miss that. But back to the episode 9 talk. In the opening explainer about the hologram ghosts, we saw Drakomon footage, which led me to believe he might be appearing in this episode too, but surprisingly he never showed his face, although we got a name drop from Nudie discussing Digimon who like to torment humans. I have my eye on Drakomon, especially now that we know enemy Digimon will be returning. There's something unsettling with how we left things off with him. At the start of this episode, Hiro has overslept. There's a creepy scene of him looking over his own body in his bed. He goes out to meet a friend and he returns home late, and this is a problem for Kiyoshiro as the dorm leader, so he kind of scolds him, reminding us that their relationship isn't just two buddies. Kiyoshiro is technically his supervisor and his senior. The team decides to visit a library, one that Jellymon is familiar with as she studies human culture around town. Apparently it's haunted, book pages will flip when there is no breeze, and other weird phenomenon happen, like digital screens having the text all messed up. Turns out to be two Digimon, Bakumon and Bokomon, with Bokomon probably being best known from Digimon Frontier. In this show, he is a professor, and the kids ask him, being a professor, you must know a lot about the digital world, right? And he does. He has a lot of information for not just the team, but for us watching at home. So here is where we get the lore explainer for Digimon Ghost Game that I alluded to in the opening of the video, so listen carefully and we'll try to unpack this stuff. In Ghost Game, Digimon are able to exist in several states of being when they're in the human world. There's the fully invisible state where Digimon can't interact with humans, they can interact with other Digimon, and can occasionally, for limited amounts of time, interact with inanimate objects like books. In the hologram ghost state, they can be actively and passively physically interacted with and even touch humans. We can go through walls, but only when they stay calm. So think of like Mummymon and Drakomon, the way they're kind of in that holographic form. And then there's Digimon materialization. This is like how Gamamon and Angoramon and Jellymon look after their partners activated their vital bracelet digivices. Apparently emotions factor into materialization. Unlike the digital world, the feelings that come from the heart are what's important, not data. This is how Bokomon describes it. It's not mega clear if Bokomon meant the feelings that come from the heart of the Digimon or the human, or a combination of the two. Quote, unlike when Digimon exist as data, Digimon are able to materialize when those different types of feelings come pouring out of the heart. Digimon materialize when they are not like data, but more like humans. So this to me sounds like emotions means the Digimon too are experiencing the emotion, not just the human. And Bokomon continues, however, there are also bad Digimon who can use their glee from hurting people to try to speed up their materialization, like Drakomon. So apparently, if I understood correctly, through enough mischief causing and hauntings, some holographic Digimon in the hologram ghost stage can materialize even without the need of a human partner. So for example, maybe Jellymon could have eventually materialized without the watch digivice if she trolled Kiyoshiro long enough, and maybe Drakomon won't end up needing a partner if it just harasses enough innocent people. Hiro asks what the reason Digimon come to our world is, but Bokomon doesn't really know, just saying there seems to be a greater force at work, kind of teasing a larger enemy of some kind. All Bokomon knows is that a gate suddenly appeared one day in the digital world and he ended up here in the library. He doesn't know how to return to the digital world even if he wanted to. There are, according to him, a few Digimon who can go back and forth between the worlds, but he doesn't say who they are. Maybe he's referring to the Black Tailmon Uver / Black Gatomon from episodes 1 and 8. And then the final lore drop of this episode is that apparently humans passing through the gate into the digital world may burn up through entry when their bodies digitize. We know Hiro's dad seems to have successfully bypassed this and is currently in the digital world, but we're left with the impression that if our team attempted right now to go through a portal into the digital world, their real world bodies would burn up. So it sounds like if they went through that portal at the end of episode 8, it would have been game over for them. And then after the lore lore drop, we get back to the Hito versus Clockmon fight. Hito is alone in the hallways, and we hear that familiar question from episode 1, Ima Nanji, or what time is it? It's Clockmon time. Hito is in danger, and he switches into the AR digital field, which cleverly transports every member of the team in with him. I thought this was really cool and clever because the others are on site but in different areas, so they wouldn't be able to hear him if Hito, cried out for help. He's just too far away, but all they know is suddenly the world around them changes, and it wasn't one of them who did it, so Hito must have done it and must be in a battle. It was really smart thinking, in my opinion. It's the Gamamon versus Clockmon rematch. Clockmon hits Gamamon again with Chrono Breaker, that time advancing move, and this is the moment of truth. Are we going to see if the theory is true that Clockmon is the real reason why Gamamon is capable of digivolving back and forth when others can't? Because Angoramon once told us in this show Digimon typically evolve over time and don't really revert to previous forms like Gamamon has been doing. We sort of get an answer with the Dark Gamamon transformation being foreshadowed once again. It reflects Clockmon's Chrono Breaker back at him, and after losing control, Clockmon's own time is only moving forward. It's spinning out of control. Clockmon looks genuinely distressed, and Hito asks what will happen to him in this world. Bokomon isn't actually sure, and then Clockmon begs for help to save his life. Angoramon says there's nothing they can do though. However, Hito is determined to save him, and so Gamamon evolves and they all get to work. Battle Gamamon and the others use their abilities to make the clock hand that's spinning forward at hyperspeeds start moving in the opposite direction, as if to reverse time or slow the flow of time back to normal. This fight is fascinating because it's not your normal anime monster fight. They're using their attacks to get his chest clock back to normal in a scene that is kind of simulating CPR, and I found it weirdly moving and humanizing for all parties involved. They literally saved this Digimon's life, and it's a Digimon who has been nothing but cruel to them being saved by CPR. Definitely not how I thought the Clockmon rematch was going to go down, and I applaud them for this take on the fight, on the confrontation. After being saved, Clockmon says, I guess I can't really attack people anymore after meeting, nice people like you. Bokomon offers to give invisibility training to Clockmon since he can't, very well go walking around in the human world in this current materialized state because he's super horrifying. The others, like Jellymon and Angoramon, say that they actually want the training too, so they can control their state without having to rely on the Vital Bracelet Digivices, I suppose. It seems like Bokomon and Bakumon may be sticking around in this show as our kind of scientist squad. I just hope that Mummymon comes back soon to join them, and they can be like a trio of scientists. Lastly, Bokomon compliments Gamamon's evolution into Battle Gamamon and says, quote, that evolution could have been the result of you and Hito's feelings combined. Kind of suggesting, well, exactly that in this series, Digimon experiencing human emotions makes them materialize. That's step one. And then a human and a Digimon's emotions matching and combining is what activates Digivolution. It's just a working theory both for Bokomon and for me though. And that is episode 9. It's been a wild 9 weeks for Digimon Ghost Game. Can you believe it's already been that long? I'm personally quite happy with the pacing of the show. It seems like we're getting some major information and teases between the episode 8 and episode 9 moments about those portals, and also this new information about materialization being a way for Digimon to become more human. The idea that a greater force is creating these portals, sending Digimon into the human world for some reason that we don't know yet. There's a lot going on, and I'm glad we have as much stuff to think and talk about as we do. It's definitely not a mindless kind of monster of the week thing with no clear plot. Like, they're definitely up to something. They're definitely planning a larger plot. But as always, let me know what you thought about the episode. You know the drill. I'm always in the comments basically for like the first 2 hours, responding to as many comments as I can after hitting publish, and I reply throughout the week, obviously, to really great comments and theories. So if you haven't subscribed already, please do so. Help us out in getting the channel to 20,000 subscribers. We're so close. Like, I'm starting to get nervous now how close we are. It's going to be tight, but I think we can do it. And if we do, it'll be an absolutely perfect way to end the year for me. Thank you so much for the support. As always, have a great week. We'll meet back here for episode 10, and I will see you in the next video.